Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot for July 22nd. So there's a couple of things I kind of want to tackle today. I am recording this, just so you're aware, I'm recording this on Tuesday afternoon. So I have not heard anything yet about the Trump coronavirus press conference. So maybe we'll take a look at that and see. But probably not, because by the time you see this, we'll all know whether it was an unmitigated disaster or just a sort of disaster. So as you can see, I have my pendulum here. So the way I understand it is that when all is said and done, the election may literally boil down to Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida. So, and as of right now, I believe it's the Cook Report, has Pennsylvania, Michigan, Washington all leaning blue, and Florida is like a toss-up. There's not even a lean. So I guess whatever was going on in there when sort of it went red, and I understand that happened by like less than a point or something, or a point. So we're going to take a look at that and see how people in Florida are leaning. Okay, so and then I'm going to take a look at a couple of others, but I'm going to ask my pendulum. We're going to start with those swing states and see what we can find out. So for those of you who don't know, when my pendulum is ready to talk, you can see it going back and forth. That is the motion. When the pendulum is answering yes, it goes back and forth and round. It goes round and round. So, I think maybe we'll phrase the question this way, right? Is Pennsylvania going blue? Yes. Okay. Is Pennsylvania going for Biden? Yes. I like that better than sort of leaning or right, because the leaning part gets confusing. And so we're just going to go Biden, Trump, and see what who leans where. Okay, so Pennsylvania, sorry, is going for Biden. Thank you. Michigan. Is Michigan going for Biden? That looks like a fairly strong yes at this point. Wisconsin is what? Wisconsin going for Biden? Yes, but not yet quite as enthusiastically. But it is. Florida. Given the current energies, is Florida likely to vote for Biden? It's looking like a pretty strong yes as of right now, so that's good news. I have to tell you, I don't tend to retain what the pendulum has said in previous videos, so just so you're aware, I don't remember. That's what happens when you're a channel, right? Okay, Arizona. Now, so I'm going to check Arizona, New Hampshire, North Carolina, Iowa, Ohio, Nevada, and Texas. So again, these are the energies as of right now, where the sort of energy or focus is likely to go. Okay, so Arizona, is Arizona likely to go for Biden? That's a yes. Has New Hampshire decided if it is going for Biden? Okay. North Carolina. North Carolina. Do we think Biden might be able to eke out a win there? It sort of looks like that's possible for sure. That's a yes. Iowa. Is Iowa at this point, like, look at that, likely to go for Biden. It started answering before I even got all of the words out. Okay, so as of right now, Iowa looks like it's going to stay Trump. Ohio, now Ohio I understand is considered a real toss-up, so let's see if we can get some clarity there. For the state of Ohio, is it likely to go for Biden? Okay, so as of right now, the energies are leaning that way. Nevada, what do we think Nevada's going to do? Is Nevada likely to go for Biden? It is. Now, Texas is really interesting. I saw some information today that showed the difference, the percentage spread between Trump and Biden in terms of who's leading. So in Texas right now, Trump is leading. He is leading by 0.04%. So in Texas, Biden is like moving rather strongly, given the fact that the election is still just over 100 days away. So tell me about, stop. Tell me about Texas. Is Texas going to go blue? That's looking like a yes. So that's very interesting. Okay, so that's what we have today. It's sort of eventually I'm going to, and as I said, I'm going to revisit this. I'll get states that are really strongly blue or really strongly red. We know the answer, right? We know that California is going to stay blue. So there's no point asking questions like that. Now, if something starts shaking up in Florida and it looks like that could be a problem, then of course we'll double check. So those are the pendulum answers for right now. I am, like a lot of people, continuing to grow quite concerned about what is going on in Portland and what Trump is threatening for Chicago. So I want to drill down on that a little bit and see what on earth is going on there and who is sanctioning this, who is behind it. So let's take a look at Portland. Hold on, I have to pick up a flying card. Okay, it was the Hermit, so we're going to see if that shows up. So let's take a look. I think the way we're going to phrase this is sort of what's behind what's going on in Portland, because really that's sort of what we want to know. So come on down, because I have a question. Okay, so what's going on in Portland, Oregon? What's going on in Portland, Oregon? What's going on in Portland, Oregon? Okay. All right. So, literally what is going on in Oregon right now, or in Portland, sorry, is honestly almost like a fight between good and evil. And if you watch this show often enough, you know that those are not words that I tend to use, but this is literally a bit of a skirmish. No, it's not a war, but it is a bit of a back and forth between people who are interested in democracy and people who are interested in just doing what Trump wants. So what you have going on right there is sort of this topsy-turvy situation where you have both sides sort of trying to dig for traction, because even though Oregon is a blue state, and the mayors and the governor and have said, get out, we don't want you here. Trump is sort of once again pushing the whole I can do what I want because I have federal say in this. And it's not that he's wrong. It's just that his motivations are so twisted that, it leaves kind of a really bad taste in your mouth. So, at this point, Trump is in such shaky water, such turbulent water. He is really doing everything that he can to try to shift attention to the storyline he wants, okay? So he's not trying to shift it to the truth, but he is definitely trying to shift it so that the narrative that he wants out there is out there. And the narrative that he wants out there, and I believe I said this in a previous reading, he is using what is going on in Portland. He is the one that is increasing the tensions. He is the one that's making it more violent because he has dragged these people in who are running around with basically no insignia, no identification, hauling people off in unmarked vans. But he's doing that for two reasons. One, it's a distraction. The numbers are terrible. Things are not going well for him. He needs a distraction. But more importantly, he is trying to turn Portland, and he's going to try the same thing with Chicago, into the next 2018 caravan. Okay? He did it in 2018. It blew up in his face. He's clearly not smart enough to pull out a different card from the deck. So he's going to try to replay something that frankly didn't work very well for him in the first place. So what he wants is sort of the violence going on so it can be recorded so that then his narrative becomes the city is out of control. It's being run by antichrists. It is, they're devastating the city. We're going to lose the city. I mean, the language is just ridiculous. But that's where he's at. This is the problem, though. See, for as big as Trump's ego is, and God knows it is huge, and as much as he wants everybody's attention focused on him, he has not quite yet figured out that really in politics, bad press is just bad press. Okay? Maybe before in his little fantasy real estate mogul world, any press was good press, what is that, as long as they spelt his name right? Well, this is not what is going on here. And he's just having a little bit of trouble wrapping his head around the concept. Again, he is in his 70s. This has worked for him for literally his life. And so he doesn't understand that the things he does and says is diminishing not only him and the Republican Party, but unfortunately the United States in terms of the world view. And they are looking on, frankly, with a little bit of horror as you have mothers in Portland lining up and sort of forming like a human barricade to get these thugs, to push these thugs back who are just snatching people off the street. And, this is a really interesting thing, right? The country as a whole is now facing two harsh realities. And you know what they are. Elections have consequences. And when you have somebody who is able to manipulate and bully his own party into cowering before him, he is like drunk on power, okay? I would love to know if there has ever in the history of the United States been another president that sent troops in to a state without even letting the governors and the mayors know. Never mind by invitation or being asked to come. Just he didn't even advise them. And all of a sudden, his guys are on the street in fatigues with no insignia and unmarked vehicles. So what he doesn't understand, bless his non-existent heart, he thinks that this is going to take him into clearer waters. That's his motivation for doing it. He wants to get a hold of the narrative because he can't right now. And he thinks this is going to work. It's not going to work. He is failing to understand that his fortune has changed. And his fortune is now moving in opposition to him. If it wasn't for bad luck, he wouldn't have any luck at all. That's kind of the energy that's around him right now. And he, for the life of him, cannot figure out how to get his good luck rolling, nor can his advisors, nor can his campaign, because all of them, frankly, are dealing with somebody who day by day is becoming more and more unhinged, irresponsible, and erratic. So there's the foundation. That's what we know right now. Let us carry on and see what we discover. Yep, he went charging in there like a bull in a china shop. Yeah, he is so anxiety ridden, so worried, and so angry because, of course, he doesn't appear to be able to control or retain or restrain his emotions. And so whatever he is feeling, he wears all over his face. And so he can't not let people know he's angry or furious or disappointed. And again, does not understand that that does not play well. Nobody wants to see the leader of a country appearing unhinged and pouting. And that's what he does. He pouts. It's pathetic. Okay, so he charges in with this idea. He thought it was going to bring him some attention. He thought it would be able to rebalance. And that hasn't happened, and it's not going to happen. As this nonsense continues, and unfortunately, I think it's probably going to carry on in Portland. I don't see it going on for a really long time, but I want to say within sort of around 7 days. If it hasn't changed within 7 days, and they've either been scaled back or pulled back, look for it very closely around that time. So sort of around the 28th, 29th. But the people who oppose him, the people who are kind of done, they're the ones who are going to ultimately end up victorious. Now, I would not be surprised if he didn't pull them out of Portland, making some nonsense up about how, we brought it all under control and now they're going to Chicago. Don't be surprised if that happens. And the thing is he doesn't have the support of his own party. They are silent, they are cowering, they are bitching and complaining behind the scenes, but of course, they're very reluctant to stand up in front of him. And the reality is that, by and large, they are, what they're trying to do is straddle a fence, right? Where they look like, they're pulling away from some of the more extreme stuff that Trump says and does, but they're not doing it in a way that is obvious because they don't want to get him upset. But the sad situation is the poor guy has both the 9 and the 10 of swords sitting here virtually side by side. So this isn't going to work for Trump. He's going to find more and more people pulling away from him, stabbing him in the back, deserting him, leaving him. And he has no emotional control. So you're going to see more of this sort of spastic or erratic behavior from him because he has no self-control. He's never had to. And for some reason, he doesn't understand that perhaps that little fiery personality in make-believe reality TV is really, really not the right fit for a re-election campaign when you were the incumbent president who was literally treading below water, okay? That's where he's at right now. It's like he's sort of, oh, nice picture, thank you. So they're showing me like a canoe and rapids. And you know, before the rapids come, there's sort of that nice calm stretch, and then usually you kind of go down, and all of a sudden there's the rapids. He doesn't see them coming. He thinks it's not true, but he thinks he's actually still in that smooth water where he's actually in control of his own canoe, which just goes to show you how unbelievably delusional he is. All right, now I want to know, okay, so he's literally trying to make a story, spin a narrative that is basically saying that he needs to do this because the states are out of control. There's rioting all over the place, and it's not going. He's trying to kill the pushback against him. He's trying to squash that which is not showing or reflecting him in a good and positive light, which frankly is just about every single thing he does or says. But justice is coming for him, and partnerships that he was at one point able to lean on and count on are not going to be there for him. More and more people are going to desert him, and that's going to put him into quite the quandary. So what I want to know here is who's behind this? Because, you know, the news people are talking about, you know, it's ICE and immigration and Homeland Security maybe, and they may be playing a part in this. I don't know. But it feels like there is more sinister stuff going on. So now people have flat asked me, you know, is it Blackwater and Eric Prince? I can't give you a definitive yes right now, but I can sure as hell tell you if something looks shady, it's probably shady. So, they are trying to circumvent the law. They are looking past what the rules are. This is connected absolutely to William Barr. And so somehow he is connected. Whether he has given license to all of it, it feels sort of like that, like he knew what was going on. He decided to take the risk, in part because he was trying to clamp down on emotions. He was trying to get things, not emotions in the streets of Portland, Oregon, mind you, but he was trying to calm down Trump. And, you know, he also has really, he's another one who has completely lost sight of the big picture. And so there is absolutely a need to try to keep him balanced because he is spiraling. And so Barr is kind of, you know, he kind of looked at this and as well, maybe it's like the lesser of two evils. He is going to pay such a horrendous price for what really does boil down to his sort of treasonous, I don't think that's quite the right word, but behavior against his country, and the things that he is allowed to happen and go on. Now, once there is a new administration in place, a lot of this is going to come to the surface. So this is interesting. Now, this is an interesting flash I just got. So a whole lot of people right now are leaning away from Trump. They're leaning towards Biden. They've had about enough of this nonsense. But you have those people who, whether they are that baked in 25% or that they're sort of that other 10, 15% who don't love him, maybe don't like his behavior, but they still think that they would rather vote for him than Biden. Okay? That's okay. That's fine. They don't have the numbers. So let's just let them live with their own thought processes. And let's not forget, there's still 100 days, just a bit over 100 days before the election. Things can change really, really fast. But once Biden comes out, gets into office, and this stuff starts getting investigated and released, those people, those Republicans who were not up for re-election this time, those people that sort of can't be gotten rid of just yet, simply because they have an R after their name, they are going to face the wrath and the punishment when 2022 midterms roll around. So it's sort of like there's going to be a sweep, and then there's going to be like a smaller broom behind picking up the riffraff after the fact. So that's kind of a nice visual to keep in mind. It's kind of cute. Okay, so literally, the Justice Department, Barr, Trump, they are all up to their tricks, okay? And it really looks like this is not only federal government agencies, or not even predominantly federal government agencies. I can't give you any more clarity than that. That's what I have for you. Now, I'm just going to quickly shuffle the deck because I don't want to waste any time here. And I'm just going to push these cards out. So these cards are not in play. And I'm just going to shuffle the remaining cards. And I want some clarity on exactly how involved is Russia. And this is the other thing, literally as I ask the question, Russia also needs those film clips on the news. Russia also needs what's going on in Portland and potentially in Chicago and God only knows where else, so that they have the material, if you will, to feed to their the bots and the websites and the wherever they've got their fingers. They also want to see those kind of pictures that you see in Oregon. If you ever want to know how distorted the news is, take a look at Fox News and the way they cover protests, and the rest of the world, how the rest of the world covers protests, right? You have Fox showing looting and people beating up each other and being just chaos, right? And then they do stuff to the film so it looks even smokier, hazier, darker, to just make it look like a disaster. Well, the other channels are saying, yep, that went on and now things are calm and things are peaceful. But he doesn't want that, right? They want the chaos and the violence because that fits their narrative. So I want to know, please, about Putin's role in this, Putin's role in this, and Putin's role in this. Even though, as of right now, even Putin is a little bit unsure about whether or not he can pull off another win for Trump. He doesn't sort of need it. He is starting to get a little bit concerned about pushback if Biden gets in. And yesterday, Biden drew some pretty darn firm lines in the sand about how he will react to foreign interference in this election. but Putin is still holding out hope that he can sort of squeak this thing through. And certainly between now and then, don't forget, one of Putin's primary motivations is this. Trump was just such a foolish fool that it was like the ice cream and the whipped cream and the sprinkles and the cherries on top of the pie. Okay, because he was so malleable, right? But what Putin wants to accomplish is not all about Trump, people. It is about showing democracy as failed, weakened, ineffective. That's what his goal is. And that's his goal for the United States and any other democracy in the world that he goes after. He is trying to diminish whatever power or strength they have, and he has had the most glorious, glorious return with Trump because Trump has frankly done it for him. Okay. But so part of what is going on literally in the Putin mind is sort of like the more he can create exposure to the things that he thinks is wrong, Putin, and he can get Trump to mimic that, which he does. Even if Trump loses, in Putin's mind, Putin wins because he has literally been able to take in 4 years a country that had good standing in the world, had some really impressive strengths that other nations looked up to, was respected. He has turned that country into a failing democracy that is the laughing stock of the world, and truly has somebody running the country who has now been flat proven not only to be a sociopath, but to have some really, really serious issues, okay, that absolutely affect and impede his ability to lead a country. Putin has won. It is just a matter of how much more he can create unrest between now and November. Now, yeah, he wants that fighting. He wants that squabbling. That's what he's looking for. The thing is you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time, right? And more and more people are pulling away from not only Trump, but the agenda and the worry and the concern about the interference. People they're waking up and they're saying, you know what, this is really not good. You have certainly the House trying to enact stuff that really comes down on election interference. I don't know how that's going to go, but the reality is he's not going to win. The American people are going to win as long as they keep their eye on the prize, they keep moving forward and pushing forward and getting things sorted out. This is also telling me that there is a little bit more behind the scenes protection going into effect in terms of the elections than when we're aware of. And part of the reason for that, as horrifying as this is, they don't want that information to get out and about because they don't want Trump to catch wind of it. Because if he catches wind of it, he's going to try to stop it. So there are some things going on behind the scenes. So let that give you literally a little bit of comfort because there's more protection in place right now than maybe we realize, and they're not advertising it. And part of the reason for that is everyone needs to stay vigilant, and everybody needs to keep pushing to get mail ballots, to make in-person voting as safe as it can. So that's sort of a bit of a an up ending to this reading. The pendulum said what the pendulum said, so we'll see how those answers pan out over time. And so, thank you so much for being here. To my new subscribers, thank you so much. Welcome, welcome to Soulprint. To my established ones, I adore you. You guys are absolutely miraculous, unbelievable, and I very much appreciate each and every one of you. Should you be looking for a private reading, just go down to the little box below and you will find an email address that you can contact me at. Until next time, take care. Be well. We'll see you soon. Bye.